Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Dirt Green Steel. So tonight's project, what we're working on is we're working on the sluice box. As you all know, I've done the sluice box extension. I added 8 foot to it. Well, I need to finish it out. So what I've been doing tonight is I've been welding the angle irons in that hold the boards that wedge these strips of wood in that hold everything down in it. But first of all, before we get started, I'd like to talk to you about some future projects coming up. And I think I'm going to hit 500 subscribers here pretty soon. I'm pretty excited about that. I never imagined that this would take off like it has. I mean, it hasn't went fast, but I can't believe that people are actually watching me. So anyway, some future projects coming up. You all know we've been working on Project Dirty Peter. That turned into a little more project than what it was supposed to be, but that's okay. Still working on that. Gonna pull the motor out probably tomorrow night. Because if you've watched the videos, it had it dropped a valve, well, both valves, and they went through a piston. So anyways, we're in the process right now in the big shop of pulling that engine out. I've been making a video on the process of that, so that'll be coming. I finally got my hands on a John Deere 690B excavator. A friend of mine has it. As soon as he's done with his pond, I will be getting it. The deal is he gets to finish his pond first, and then I can get the hoe. At the same time, while I was there, he's like, I also got something else you might like. Turns out he's got, from the 60s, he's got a G600 Gradall on tracks. So I ended up purchasing it too. So we're getting a 690B John Deere excavator, and I'm getting a Gradall on tracks. So I'm pretty excited about that. The Gradall needs some work, but I like projects, and it's going to be a fun project. You know, you typically see Gradalls on a truck chassis, or they're just on 4 tires that move them around. This one's rare because it's on tracks. It's a Inslee crane undercarriage basically, but hydraulic driven. It's got hydraulic track motors that actually run the chains that run the tracks. So I'm pretty excited about that. Gonna get it home, get it fixed. It's got a bad oil leak somewhere. Gonna fix that. But first, got to get it running. It's been sitting for 5 years, and it needs some TLC before we can get it running. So that's going to be a subject for YouTube. We're going to do a video on getting it running and get it home. So it's been kind of hectic. Been a lot of projects going on. I've been working on the trommel stuff at night. Been trying to get the Sluice Box Extension finished. And tonight we are going to finally assemble it. I'm going to go through, in this video we're going to cover how to assemble a sluice box. I'm going to show you how to put the miner's moss in, how you put the expanded steel in places, and how the riffles work. So I've got one more angle iron that I'm going to weld on video, and then we're going to put everything in the sluice box that goes in the sluice box. We've already got a start down there with some expanded steel and some miner's moss, which I already had that in. I didn't need to take it out because the reason I took the rest out, I had all this laid in there, but the reason I took it all out was so I could get some measurements on my angles on my angle irons, because I couldn't quite remember. It's been a while since I built the first part of this sluice box, so I couldn't quite remember what angle I put them at. I actually put them at like a 25-degree angle, and I'll show you how that works in a second. So I'm going to get the camera set up, we're going to weld that last angle iron on, and then we're going to start assembling. So I'd just like to thank everybody that's subscribed so far, and don't worry, the channel's going to keep getting more exciting. We got Project Dirty Peter to look forward to, we've got the 690B coming, we've got the Gradall coming. Dad Strength might even have bought himself a little Case 350 track loader, a little diesel, sweet little track loader. So a lot of things to look forward to, and harvest is around the corner, believe it or not. We're that far into the year already, so it's already August, so harvest is coming soon. So that means getting the combines out, getting them ready, getting the semis hooked to the hopper bottoms, getting the hopper bottoms checked over, getting a grain cart put on the 4955. It's going to be a long rest of the year because there's a lot of stuff going on, river work going on, ditch work going on. And we're going to get the trommel set up. I know that I said that a long time ago, but we are going to get the trommel set up and we're going to mine some gold. We're going to wash some stone. So hang on because it's going to be a hell of a ride. So just bear with me here. I know I've said this, a lot of this stuff, and it hasn't happened yet, but it is going to happen. Just a lot of things going on before all this could happen. So anybody that's in this business understands that other things pop up and you got to do it. So, and plus it don't help that we're living in strange times where we can't even go outside or go to a store without a mask on. That's just ridiculous. I'm tired of wearing masks. Whose ever idea that was, please tell everybody they don't need to wear a mask anymore because it does no good. The Swedish have figured it out. It takes herd immunity to take care of coronavirus. So we all need to be together. We all need to breathe our own or each other's germs so that we can create an immune system towards this coronavirus. So anyways, and don't take my video down YouTube because I said coronavirus. So, anyways, let's get started tonight on tonight's project and see how far we can get. I think we can assemble all this tonight before I get too tired. I already worked 12 hours today, so I'm a little tired. I'm running on fumes, but we're going to get this done this evening. So, let's get at it. Well, I got the camera set where I want it. So using the ESAB Rebel 215, we are going to weld this piece of angle iron on where we want it. I've got this set to the angle that I want it at. I simply going to set it down here on the floor of the sluice box, set my angle iron on top of it. I've got a mark where I want it. Turn that around. Got a mark where I want it. Here and here, and that's where I want it. So I'm going to tack it. Get this out of there. Now, all these do is they just hold a piece of wood in to wedge so that when you drive, this will sit down here, and you drive a piece of wood in here and it pushes down on this. So these don't have to be welded extremely well. So I'm just going to weld down here a little bit, weld up here a little bit, and then weld the end, and we'll have it. That's all it takes. It don't take much at all. Okay, and that's all we need. So we're going to let that cool a little bit, and then we're going to get to assembling our sluice box here. Okay, so before we get started assembling our sluice box, I'm going to take a moment just to explain what materials we are going to be using. So this is miner's moss. So what happens is your black sand, your gold, your garnets, any of your more valuable minerals will actually wash over this as your sand comes through your sluice box. It'll wash over this and it'll churn and stuff will fall out, and them heavy items such as the garnets and gold and black sand will actually fall down into this miner's moss, which you can see is like open inside and all just tangled up. So what happens is once this fills up after 40, 50 hours of washing dirt, or however long you decide to run it without doing a cleanup, I should say. Once you get those hours on the box, you take this out and you take like a big, like I've got a Rubbermaid water tank for like animals to drink out of that's probably about that deep and probably yay long. I fill it with water and I take my miner's moss and I go like this through that water, And as I work that, I shake it real good and beat on it and smack it around, and that knocks that material out of this miner's moss. And then that material is what you take, which is called a concentrate. You take that concentrate, and that's what you pan. Or you run it through, I have a blue wheel that I run it through, and that's where your gold will be and any of your other valuable minerals that you may find. I found lead shot from shotgun shells. I found a little bit of gold. I found garnets. I found just different random stuff. You'd be surprised what you find in this miner's moss when you start cleaning it out. But there is a little bit of material that can get through the backside of this miner's moss. So what you do is when you pull all the mats out, these are called mats, miner's moss mats, whatever you want to call them, you rinse the whole sluice box out into a container and you get everything out of it, because a little gold does fall through and get down in the metal part of the sluice box, and that's why it's essentially a big tray. So let's get started assembling this, and then we'll talk about how the riffles work, because they're easier to talk about a riffle when it's actually laying in the sluice box. So I'm going to get started. Okay, so we're going to start assembling our sluice box. I have two different grades of miner's moss. This one's a little bit smaller fiber, a little tighter weave. So I'm going to alternate this throughout the sluice box. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to put it here. Fit it in there like so. And I want that expanded steel to overlap that joint so that when the sand and water come down, I don't want it to go underneath that, that mat. So by doing that, the expanded steel will hold down that seam. It'll keep the stuff from washing under. So we're going to go with the green one next. And then we're going to finish out with a brown one. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we've got our riffles. They're just made out of angle iron and flat strap. And these go a certain way. They have to go with the flats heading this way. So the 90-degree bend is towards the back flat. So that when material runs over here, it comes over and it starts to swirl under here and then goes over the next one and swirls. And when they swirl is when they throw the gold out and the heavy materials and they put it up under that lip and it stays in there. That one goes there. Now, this set of riffles is made out of a little bit bigger angle iron. It is actually 1-inch angle iron with taller strap, which doesn't make a difference. It's still all the same, perfectly fine. This one fits in a little tight. And it's heavier than the other one. But it will go. I've had it in. And this one sits here. It sits there, keeps that seam down, keeps material off from another. And there's a little bit of a blank spot here. And now this expanded steel goes over this other spot. So now what we're going to do is these are our strips that hold this down. I'll show you how this works. This is where the angle iron pieces come into play. Lay these in here. Now grab a hammer. These are the wedges that hold down the strips of wood that hold this all down tight. I'll show you how this works. So all you gotta do is simply stick this in here. Drive that in. Drive that one in. Now the thing is when all this gets wet, it'll swell up and then we'll do nothing but get tighter. So the ideal thing is to use the wood, because the wood, like I said, gets water soaked in it. And it's like an old whiskey barrel. The wetter it is, the tighter it seals. So any other thing I don't think would work real well, like a polyplastic wedge. It might work, but I've always used the wood. The only bad thing is if you leave the sluice box set for like 2 or 3 weeks and it dries out, then will fall out and then you'll have to make new ones. Or, well, you don't have to make new ones. If you catch them in time and they fall out before you start your water pump, you don't have to go chase them. They'll be laying right there. You just simply pick them up and drive them back in. So now that I got them ripples in, I will show you a little better video of how those work. Okay, so now we're down eye level with the sluice box, and you can see how this is put together right here. So when material comes over the top of this, you got to think sand, water, little bitty gravel, gold, black sand, garnets, all kinds of stuff comes washing through here from up there. When it comes over the top of this, it starts a little swirl in here. And it keeps swirling and swirling. And that throws out the heavier stuff. And when the heavier stuff gets thrown out, it falls. And it falls down in this miner's moss and gets caught. So that just continually happens over and over and over again. And then once you've decided you've got enough time on the box, you take all this apart, take all the wood out, drive all your wedges out, take it apart, roll them up, take them home, rinse them out, rinse out the sluice box itself, catch that because there could be potentially gold or something else valuable in it, and take all that home. And you process that and do a cleanup, is what it's called, is doing a cleanup. And you see how much gold you got. So I'm not going to fully assemble this tonight as far as putting the wedges and all the wood strips in, because I got to tear it all back apart anyways. I know that it's going to work because from what I can see, I can visually see it's all going to work. So I'm going to take all this back out, clean it up real good, degrease it, get the mill oil off, and then I am going to paint it all black. So it'll all be black to match the rest of my equipment. The thing with gold is you want to make sure there is absolutely no oil present. Oh Lord, I didn't wake you up. You want to make sure there is no oil present, because if there is an actual oil film on the water, it can float your fine gold right out of your box. So it's very, very, very crucial to make sure that all equipment has no oil leaks that are involved with gold. So are we going to find anything? We don't know. We'll see what happens. It's up in the air, but it's fun to do. You know, this is probably the only sluice box of this size built here in northern Indiana. So this is actually a good size sluice box. So anyways, I'm going to head in the house for the night because I am tired and I got to be up early tomorrow for work. So anyways, if you like this episode of Dirt Grain Steel, give me a like and a subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Like to thank everybody at ESOB Welders and Forney Industries for their wonderful equipment that helped me build this box. It's just turned out perfect. The welds on it have turned out perfect. The cuts I've made with the plasma cutter turned out perfect. So I'm very happy with it, very pleased. So anyways, thanks for watching, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you want to go on a hell of an adventure. So I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.